Yo, what's up, Genziato? Welcome back to another episode. We've been out for a while, but we're back at it again with another AMG video. This one I think is going to be especially special because we haven't seen a lot of these videos on YouTube, and just this freaking car in general on YouTube. So let's check it out. Boom, there it is. King Lister's 2019 E63s. So I'm not gonna screw up the verbiage on what we're doing today. So I'm gonna let our newest partner in the business and the YouTube channel, Lister Liebenberg, give you a couple words of what's going on.
Yeah, so basically we are doing another set of downpipes. The last episode we did the GTS. This episode we're doing this next monster.
Guys, look at this craftsmanship. I mean, what are we talking about here? Is this art or downpipes? But as you know, the GTS was stupid loud. And this has 100 more horsepower, so I can't even imagine what this is gonna be like.
I don't really know, bro, to be honest.
You have it. We don't really know how to do this, so apparently it's a lot different from the GTS, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the ECU sitting on top of the engine. You have heat shields. The engine's not mid-mounted. So there's a lot tighter space between the transmission and things. I mean, we could just do the procedure for the GTS and just start taking the oxygen sensors out and the heat shields and things like that.
Just got to do what you know at this point and figure the rest out along the way. So stay tuned, guys. There you have it, a little before sound clip. I don't know what it is with these newer 4-liter twin turbo V8s. They just don't have that same, beastly V8 grumble. It sounds more exotic, like a flat plane, V8 from McLaren or Ferrari, which is okay, but like Lister was saying, it's not traditional AMG. It's not, that freaking I'm trying to tear the sky open with that insane amount of noise. Nevertheless, I think downpipes are gonna help this tremendously, and I'm definitely excited to hear what it sounds like. So let's take a look at what Lister's doing right now. Just taking out some heat shielding, right?
Yeah, this is the easy part.
Easy part. Easy money.
And the other side's gonna be more exciting.
Yeah, so unlike the GTS, we have this ECU and right on top of the engine, and it has seems to have like some cooling that's going on.
It's got an ECU cooler.
Which
power.
Which is interesting. All right, so what are we doing?
Yeah, so basically, you have to get this out of the way to get these bolts out and just make room so you're not leaning on like these coolant lines and stuff, and I mean, number one for safety of electronics would be obviously disconnect the battery. And it's like a C-Class, it's under the hood over here. All it is these two pry clips on either edge, and then you can get to it.
All right, so we moved this ECU out the way. That's all you need. Nothing crazy. Just enough room to give us to work with these O2 sensors and heat shielding.
You can take it off, but then you gotta do a bunch of coolant bullshit. And probably get away with that. Yeah, so there's 2 back bolts back here that hold the whole heat shield on. So, seems as if the oxygen sensors on the driver's side are up high and the oxygen sensor plugs on the passenger side are down low. If you're an American viewer, it would be driver passenger. If you're a UK viewer, it would be passenger driver. But yeah, there's 2 bolts at the bottom here that are kind of a pain in the ass right there, and then there's another one in that corner. But there's your brake booster vacuum line here for the vacuum pump. That's kind of a pain in the ass because it gets in the way. But to get the plugs on the other side, we're gonna have to raise the car up and get some underneath. Making good progress here. There's brackets that hold the catalytic converters on both sides. Very easy to get to. There's 2 bolts holding to the bracket and then 2 bolts holding the bracket to the actual engine itself. And literally just take that off, boom, boom. They're E12s on both sides, and then that basically gives you the perfect amount of room to shove your hand up in there and drop these oxygen sensor plugs. And that's it. And then you're gonna have to cut them in half. Otherwise you're gonna drop a transmission.
Yeah, we ain't saving these. He's going to the scrap yard. But kind of without saying, all that shielding was underneath as well. So do you have these plugs on these connections on both sides?
So yeah, no. The passenger side on US vehicles, the plugs for the oxygen sensors are only accessible from the underneath. They kind of attach themselves to the engine. But yeah, the driver's side on US vehicles, it's at the top.
All right, let's explain to the good people what we just did.
So basically what you want to do is you want to get the primary wire all the way out to unscrew it. Otherwise you will not be able to get the heat shield off. And there's like 4 or 5 clips down there that hold the wire like that. You just pry it away like that and you'll be able to pull the wire out.
So a little bit different than the GTS. We have our 9-speed transmission mounted directly to the 4-liter up front. So there's not as much room to play with, but we can still get it done pretty easily, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
So what's next steps?
I mean, we're gonna have to cut it. Otherwise, we have to cut between the secondary and the primary, like right after the bend, or right before the bend. Otherwise, we're not gonna have any room to kind of fish it out the top. And there's 2 mounting bolts right there that hold the cats to the bracket to the engine.
Now, if you want to save these to reinstall them later, what's the recommended procedure? Like,
I mean, bro, really is just dropping the gearbox, like not all the way out, but lowering it enough, unbolting it from the motor, lowering it enough to get your hands up in there, because it's almost like that.
but we're gonna cut these bad boys because
We ain't going back.
we're not going back.
So basically what you're wanting to do is get rid of this bend. Once you get rid of this bend, you can pull the top half from the top and the bottom half from the bottom.
Ladies and gentlemen, clean cut. So we almost got this side done. Then after that, you should be able to fish them out from the top, right?
Yeah.
All right. We gotta remove this bracket back here, guys, because there's not enough room to pull them up.
Exactly like the GTS. Remember which one we took out first? Did we take the one out to get the other one out?
Let's go. One down, one more to go.
Little twisty action, that's what it was. This one just come out pretty easy.
So we're having some slight issues getting this right side, our driver's side out. We're gonna try to take this bracket off and see if that helps.
Yeah, I don't want to have to cut it again. There's a lot of important stuff right there that if you nick, you got a big fucking problem.
Anything else you want to say? Have you been drinking? Follow my finger, please. Say your ABCs backwards.
License and registration, please. What?
All right, brackets off. Boom. Strikes again, bro. Look at that. Money.
Actually?
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Got it on top, guys.
Oh, he did.
Probably gonna have to do the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, you want that, yeah.
Steering column out of the way. Pull it down.
Lost time, those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I know. We gotta combobulate the flux capacitor with the plumb bob.
Yep. So we got the downpipes mounted, the brackets installed, not tightened all the way. But on the GTS, we learned a lesson. What was that lesson we learned?
Yeah, so they literally rattled loose. I guess these are replaceable bolts, one-time use kind of thing. So in good fashion, we are unprepared and did not buy a replacement bolt. So in order for them not to rattle loose, we'll probably just put some high-temp thread sealant on it. And it worked on the GTS, hasn't had a problem. It's been about 10,000 miles. So that's the direction we're gonna go.
Yep, copy and paste. It's gonna do it again. All right, Lister, what are we doing here?
So basically, we can't really simulate a heat cycle, but what we can do is we can really set these V bands. They're not true V band, but you just want to kind of lightly tap them. It kind of breaks it loose a little bit, and it sets the pipe in, and then you can give it like a little bit more of a turn. That way, when you know, it starts to heat cycle and it gets hot and cools down, it doesn't shrink. Oxygen sensors, very last. That way we don't damage them while we're trying to finagle and make things fit. You know, 'cause obviously you don't want the exhaust touching any wires. You don't want the exhaust touching the bell housing, the engine. You want it only to touch the brackets that were designed for it to touch. And you know, when you're trying to get it into that position, you know, you can cut the wires and the oxygen sensors on these sharp pieces of metal. So it's best to just leave them out till last. Applied bolts for the downpipe to brackets. They're a little bit smaller than the factory bolts, just because the alignment could be slightly off, and if the hole's too small, then obviously it's not going to go in there. So they kind of reduce the size for that. If you have any confusion on how these oxygen sensor wires go, there's two clips. There's one on the back side of the head, and then there's one a little bit lower that's attached to the intake manifold on this side. And then it basically like does a loop. It does a loop and then attaches right here at the bottom of the intake manifold. So if you look, it goes from the top one to this one, and then from here, you plug it in, and then it clips in right there. So put it together, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like after.
All right, looks like we're about to start this beast. Any last words? It'll start. So we just gotta plug the ECU back up and connect the power, and we'll be ready to rip. Let's do it. Cold start. New downpipes. Bro, first impressions. Mini gunshots? Yes? No? Maybe? I'll tell you right now, bro. It's not a game. This is how this car should sound from the factory. They need to figure out some way to get emissions and to make it sound like this. Unreal.
Dude, this shit is next level.
And it's not like, I mean, the pops are pretty aggressive, but other than that, yeah, the pops are insane. But I mean, other than that, it's a very clean and aggressive sound. Yeah, but the pops, man, I don't know.
That is not a bougie noise, bro.
No, I would not be surprised if some car alarms got set off about those pops. But But stay tuned. We're gonna do first drive impressions, drive-bys, and just rip on this thing. We're going in the mountains today?
Fuck yeah, bro.
Let's do it.